Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to this information seminar for Mphil and PhD programs at Hong Kong Shue Yan University 2020 to 2021. This information seminar is particularly scheduled for our own student, particularly final year student at Hong Kong Shue Yan University. So today's agenda, our first, let me introduce myself first. I'm Professor Catherine Tang, and I'm the director of the graduate school. And today's agenda, first I would like to introduce some general information about admission to the research postgraduate program as a whole. Then we will have specific program information from the supervisors and faculties at different departments. And today's session is session 1. Particularly, we will invite faculties, supervisors from the social science and economics departments. So we will have representatives from the economic department, counseling and psychology department, and sociology department. Then the last part will have the sharing of the current sessions. And then we'll have a time for Q&A from the audience. Because this session is information session is for our own student at Shue Yan, so I will not be talking too much about Shue Yan history and the infrastructure. I'll go straight to the programs that are offered currently at the graduate school. And for these are the 6 Mphil and 6 PhD programs offered at different departments. For the Faculty of Arts, we have Mphil and PhD program in Chinese language and literature, English language and literature, and also PhD and Mphil programs in history department. And we also have Mphil PhD program in economics. And then from social science, we will have Mphil and PhD students in psychology and sociology. Briefly, let me kind of briefly talk about the study period. If you are applying for Mphil student full-time, the normative period, 24 months. That means the average time or the expected time you're supposed to graduate. And also later on have an implication for your scholarship and financial support. So scholarship and financial support will be provided while you are attending the graduate school during the normative period. If you're applying for part-time Mphil, the normative period is 48 months because it takes a little bit longer time if you're doing part-time. And if you're doing full-time PhD and you're entering with a master's degree, either talk or research program, the normative time is 36 months and the part-time is 48 months. For those who are applying or entering the PhD program without a master or without a master degree, in other words, you want to, after you graduate from your final year undergraduate, you want to go straight to the PhD program. The normative full-time is 4 years, and the part-time is 16 months. And other things that most of you will be interested in is, do I receive financial support from the university? Yes, in a way, okay. So there are studentships available for applying. And it's what, 50,000 per month. And there are also special subsidy, 5,000 extra for, but this you need to, depends on case by case. And there are also subsidy for free accommodation at the postgraduate dormitory for the first semester. And the application fee for this, for applying to the programs is $200 per program. Okay, another thing that is of great interest to most of you is how much does it cost, the tuition fee? Within the normative period, there is 2-year full-time for Mphil and 3-year full-time for PhD with a master's degree. So for full-time, it's $69,000 per year, and part-time, $46,000 per year during the normative period. And the tuition per year is to be paid in 2 installments. So if you calculate the sponsorship, the studentship, and the tuition, so the tuition is the studentship per year almost pay for half of the studentship will pay for your tuition for that particular year. So it's not a whole lot of money, but it will subsidize your tuition fee. And for those who do not graduate after the normative period, you are allowed to continue until the maximum period. And the tuition fee after the normative period is $4,000 per 3-month period, okay? So this is the studentship, subsidy, and fees. And in general, I want to explain a little bit about the program structure. We focus on interdisciplinary, and we also adopt a mixed mode. That means it's a postgraduate program, research program, but it also includes core courses, coursework, and research projects. And the coursework include university level core course that every research student needs to attend, as well as departmental core courses. That means students will also need to attend a course or two in their own department, in addition to the university course. And the curriculum, basically the university core course that all students need to attend is 2 courses, regardless of whether you're a PhD or Mphil student. So in a way, you need to attend 2 core courses of the university, one on research methodology and another on interdisciplinary approach to different disciplines. And the third component of the common core that all students need to attend is the graduate seminar, as well as the research seminars. And there are also, like I said, departmental courses offered by different departments. So the student basically, if you're enrolled in sociology, for example, if you want to enroll in Mphil in sociology, you need to attend 2 core courses, one on methodology and one on interdisciplinary approach, attend research seminars, attend graduate seminars, as well as 1 course offered by the Department of Sociology and the thesis. So a little bit more detail for individual programs, okay? For Mphil programs in all departments, okay? Like I just said, there are coursework, advanced research methodology, 3 credits. Basically, it will include both qualitative and quantitative methodology. And the interdisciplinary approach that students need to, that's selection. You can select the approach that you're interested in. Usually, we encourage students to take the interdisciplinary approach outside of the main departments. And then there are departmental courses that you need to attend. And there are also seminars and graduate workshops. For Mphils, all students need to attend 1 graduate research seminars at least once per year, and it's a non-credit bearing, okay? And in addition, you need to attend half of what the graduate seminars that's being offered in that particular year. It is also the same as, it's also non-credit bearing. And you need also, but by the end of first year for Mphil students, you need to also to conceptualize a thesis project. And at the end of the first year, you need to propose your project. And after successive proposal, you can continue with your data collection in the next semester. Okay, so you need to do a presentation, oral presentation, and being evaluated for your thesis proposal. So if we do the timeline here in the figure, it looks complicated, but not. Okay, basically the first year, the first semester, you fulfill the core courses. And then propose your thesis, attend graduate and research seminars. The second year, you attend the courses offered by your own department and data collection and defend your thesis. So that is within 2-year time frame for the Mphil students. For PhD students, basically the basic structure is the same, okay? The first year, you attend the core courses of the university, and as well second year, you do the departmental courses, propose your thesis, propose your PhD dissertation, present it, and write 2 papers on it in the workshops, and then present a chapter of your thesis or dissertation in the colloquial, and then defend it in the 4th year or in the final year of your PhD program. So in a figure like this, so if you remember, if you're entering with a master or top program, your normative period is 3 years. So you have the 3 years to do all the above. If you're entering with the bachelor degrees, we think that you need more time, okay, a little bit more time to put together your thoughts and to consolidate what you have learned in the undergraduate. So you need 4 years. The normative period is 4 years. Okay, it's possible. I have students doing that, and I even a student doing 3 years after bachelor. So it depends, but I think 3 years is too rush. So we recommend a 4-year study period for those who are entering with the bachelor. So if you're very committed, if you know what you're doing, after the final year, sometimes you might go for, straight to the PhD, but normally we ask students to first, even if you're interested in PhD program right after bachelor's degree, normally we recommend you to first apply to the Mphil. After the first year, you know that you definitely know you are now even more sure that you want to go to a PhD. There is a possibility of transferring from an Mphil program to a PhD program after the first year. Of course, with good and satisfactory academic performance and a good research proposal. So after that, we talk about mission requirements. Okay, it's about the same for both Mphil and PhD. We need you applicants to be graduated from a recognized university and obtain a bachelor's degree for Mphil, and normally lower than second class, okay, but they are also determined by case. If you have very strong recommendation and your research proposal is very good, we will still consider, okay? So, and then, graduate from, okay, PhD, okay. You need to opt, if you're entering in the PhD program with a master degree, then we need the master degree to be of a recognized university, okay? And if you want to apply straight to the PhD from a bachelor degree, we would need, significant evidence that your performance at the undergraduate level is very, very satisfactory. So for example, if you obtain a first class honor or a class of honor with distinction, then we will consider those, okay. And that's the academic, requirement. And another thing is all applicants has to satisfy the English proficiency requirement for both Mphil and PhD. So you need to take a recognized English test. Right now, most people are taking IELTS instead of TOEFL or whatever. So IELTS is the choice. So you need to achieve 6.5, at least 6.5 for both Mphil and PhD, and the result needs to be available, okay, at the time of your application. And do remember, IELTS is offered, do take note of the offering date of the IELTS. I think it's publicly available. You go to the website and there's a date for the test, and there are tests for both computer administered or on-site, tests. So you can take both, or either one of them, or it's your choice. But you need to make sure the result arrive, before the deadline, or a company readily available, before the deadline. And there are exemptions. If you're graduating from a university office English-speaking country, then it's exempted. And if you are also another exemption if you are graduating at local university with a major in English, then we also exempt your English requirement. And there are specific requirements from each department. So this is only the general requirement. And there are specific requirements from each department. You also need to look at the website and talk to the supervisor and see what are the specific requirements. To remember, these are the only minimum requirement. Not that you fulfill this requirement, you'll be accepted. These are the minimum requirement. And whether your application is successful depends on how many people are applying and your academic performance. In most cases, we do have an interview with the department, and your performance during the interview as well. And later on, we also talk about a sample of your writing. Research papers from your undergraduate or from your previous master program, as well as the current research proposal for your Mphil or PhD program that you intend to apply. So these are the basic requirements. And then to apply general, okay, that's the way to do it. Whether you're online or we also accept paper applications. And the first round application at the end of February. Okay. The first round of application deadline is February. Although it's a first round, we don't guarantee the second round and third. So apply early. Okay. Early bird catches the worm. Okay. And the earlier you secure, then you can plan your assignment. If you're working, if you apply for other things, you can plan it. So do apply early. And in order to facilitate application, to do compression for yourself, your application should be complete, okay? And how serious you are in applying to the program. It also shows you how serious you will be in your future, academic, pursuit in the university. So your application materials complete, tidy, and readable. Okay, we need a copy of your ID card, passport. Another important thing is official transcript from the university attending by the applicants. A transcript means it lists out the number of courses and the grades that you attended. It's not just a certificate that this Mary obtained a bachelor in social science. It's a certificate of diploma. But what is more important, of course, we need that too, a degree of, a copy of degree certificate, the official transcript. We need to know what you have, attended and what is your grade for a particular discipline. So, and also an official score report of IELTS on English proficiency, a sample of writing, a research proposal, and the last is also very important, a confidential recommendation from 2 academic referees respectively. Confidential recommendation, a good practice is ask the referee to send their recommendation letter directly to the graduate school or to the university, and without you passing, without you, handling the recommendation. And too important because this is a recommendation, a comment of your ability to pursue a research program. So think about who is in the position to do this recommendation, to comment. Not your husband, not your boyfriend and girlfriend, or your neighbor, or someone you met in the grocery store. Okay, we do have recommendations by various people that we consider we will not consider as appropriate academic referee. The best type of academic referee is your previous teachers, supervisors, that has a fair amount of interaction with you. Okay, for example, teaches you a course, several courses, and the best recommendation letter is coming from your supervisor, research supervisor. Okay, so this is a hint, The application procedure is very simple. In a way, you prepare the material, make use of the Chinese New Year, okay, and submit application form and upload the document. Research interview invitation will be conducted. We will gather all the documents, and for the first round, department will call for interview around April, May, and we'll make the offer very soon in June or early June. For most of you who are final year, if you're interested in applying for the Mphil, in a way, your official transcript is not complete yet because you won't be on time or in time to get your second semester, your final semester result. But it doesn't matter, okay? Just send as much as you can and tell us the expected date of graduation, okay? So for final year student, your transcript should be up to last semester, right? And since you are familiar, your students from Shue Yan University, I won't be talking too much about our special facilities, but pertaining to postgraduate studies, you will be eligible to apply for postgraduate hostel. And then don't take for granted postgraduate student office is not available in some other universities, okay? You have a very spacious postgraduate student office where you can have interaction with your students, other postgraduate students, but you also have your own working station. Also, don't take for granted this is, is available to graduate students. In some university, it's not available. Students have to share, or they don't even have a working station. Now, if you have any questions, okay, do contact us with the phone, email, and do look at our website for more detailed information in case you miss you want some clarification. And there's a graduate brochure, okay? It's also available in the website, or you can also obtain a physical copy, okay, if you're interested. Okay, so my general information is here. So if you have questions, put down in the Zoom chat, and our staff will be gathering all your questions. And then let me introduce, from the Department of Economics and Finance to talk their own specific program. So may I call upon Dr. Lee? Okay.
各位同學，咁我哋咧係最主要咧就係呢個 program Mphil 同埋 PhD program 咧，最主要讀經濟學學生嘅，所以即係主要係經濟。咁所以咧，我哋要求嗰個主要咧都要喺經濟，即係攞到經濟學士。如果係 Mphil 嘅話，攞到即係經濟學嘅士啦嚇，咁咧就係 Mphil 咧，你攞一個 Touch Master Degree。一係讀即係要實學要咧唔係做研究嘅嗰個嘅 degree 咧都可以申請。咁我哋嗰個咧 Mphil 最主要係做研究嘅。如果係 PhD 嘅話咧，要係咧係一個好嘅 master degree， 好 distinction 添。咁咧係同埋係個都係需要讀經濟學。就係咧同經濟有關嘅先可以申請。咁咧係我過往嘅學生咧就係來自唔同嘅地方，有外國啦，甚至去到非洲。咁有啲咧就喺英國啦申請，就喺本地嘅大學，其他大學都有嘅。咁咧就係佢哋咧就申請即係申請 Mphil 就係有啲咧攞個學士啦，或者攞咗個咧碩士。但係咧就係 PhD 咧就甚至有啲咧。係已經咧係差唔多攞咗PhD 嘅，攞博士嘅。不過咧佢係攞咗統計學嘅。不過而家咧就想咧就係去讀嗰個經濟咁，所以咧就係咧佢就攞個 PhD。咁我哋都有嘅。咁咧就而家咧我哋啱啱有一個嘅學生咧係我同喺度申請緊喺度supervise 緊咧，係喺呢個學生好好就係來自咧係。喺Wisconsin 啦，喺美國有間好嘅 U 啦，咁咧而家咧就係跟住咧佢喺咗嗰個係 Columbia 嗰度嚇，美國係一間常春藤大學嘅一間好出名嘅大學碩士，咁佢分係非常之高嘅，咁係超過3.4或者以上，咁所以一啲好好嘅即係申請者咧係好犀利。咁係咪學生係好似唔勤嚟咧？咁喺我講咧，絕對唔係咯。相信自己咯嚇。我喺我經驗裏邊，我哋最當然係最 top 嘅學生，絕對唔差得過嘅大學嘅學生。所以咧，我哋雖然有好多人好嘅申請，即係好嘅學校嘅申請，但係唔等於我哋學生係冇機會。所以我保你哋咧係申請。咁咧就係而咧我哋就係其實咧，你申請裏邊咧，其中咧，我覺得最重要咧就係個 proposal 係好重要，因為睇你係有冇研究嘅能力。咁所以咧，我哋咧需要係睇你嘅內容。咁啊，當中咧呢個係需要知道嘅就係你大約你嘅興趣啦。咁咧就係你大約嘅研究嘅想研究啲乜嘢，個方向喺邊度。研究嘅背景你講即係講喺你 proposal 裏邊嘅，同埋咧就係咧你個研究嘅方法啦。咁咧就係咧你要咧係好清楚地講出即係會咧係個整個嘅即係個 outline 係點樣，同埋咧個 timeline。因為咧你可能咧諗到好大，但係咧可能咧你要10年到嘅，咁呢個係冇用嘅。咁所以咧一定要咧係你要睇你個 timeline 咧，就睇到你個計劃係咪一陣間都會講係咪 feasible， 係咪有即係可以做到嘅咯。咁咧當然你都可以預計咧你做嘅嘢有咩嘅貢獻。咁咧就係咧呢個咧當然要有適當嘅嗰個參考資料，呢個咧就係我哋需要嘅。咁咧就係呢個係我個人嘅意見嚇，就係做一個 research 咧，我講喺經濟學嗰度。咁我哋咧就要做個 proposal 嘅時候，我諗有幾樣嘢咧要留意。第一個就係你對呢個嘅研究有乜嘢嘅重要性？對個社會或者對嗰個你研究嘅領域裏邊有咩嘅重要性？唔好咧就係咧有啲同學會揾佢自己嘅興趣。我好中意呢樣嘢，我就想 study。呢個係唔係做研究嘅？要你寫一個 proposal。你可能你會覺得好有興趣，但係其實可能完全冇用嘅，或者對你個研究嘅作用性唔高嘅，咁呢個好緊要。第二個咧就話咧，有啲同學咧就可能咧就會再寫個 research question 好多我呢個好重要，但我又想睇呢樣又想睇呢樣嘢。咁每個研究甚至個研究題目裏邊咧係講好多方面嘅嘢，咁呢個咧又係咧睇唔到個最重，你要想 study 啲乜嘢咯。所以一定要好清晰，同埋咧好 focus 嘅你個研究嗰個取向。一陣間我都會可能俾個例子。咁咧當然啦，希望攞到 PhD 咧，你諗嘅嘢咧一定喺一個領域裏邊有一個新嘅創建。當然我哋唔係期望好犀利嘅創建，但係你唔可以完全冇自己嘅新嘅嘢咯。咁可能喺即係研究方法裏邊啦，可能喺應用嘅層面裏邊。咁咧仲有咧就係當然。你嗰個研究係好犀利啦，即係好有貢獻。你又好清楚做啲乜，咁咧就係咧，亦都有創意。但係一定要諗咧，你個研究裏邊咧能唔能夠做到啊？你喺個時間裏邊可唔可以做到？或者喺你嘅攞到嘅資料嘅能力得唔得？呢個咧好重要。有啲同學咧可能就算我哋睇佢做，可能話我要做一個咧係全球嘅對香港。最好一個即係對全球一個最好嘅經濟制度，點樣令到個經濟咧可以不斷咁發展？但係呢個咧係冇意義嘅，因為咧你做咗出嚟等於冇講，因為呢個一定係想全球最好啦。但係你點樣界定同埋點樣去量度咧？呢個係需要知道咯。咁咧，譬如話我哋喺一個我哋都知譬如我俾個例子啊，我哋覺得係重要嘅，譬如話喺中國如果我哋研究中國咧喺過咗即係經濟改革之後，呢幾十年每年都經濟增長，但係咧就係咧正如喺應該係07年嘅時候 ，World Bank 咧有個研究報告，佢就話咧係研究過好多國家，即係美洲嘅國家裏邊咧，佢係到經濟發展到咁上下咧， 佢會進入一個叫 middle income trap， 即係咧有一個國家去到中等收入嘅時候咧，佢係有一個陷阱喺度，佢好難係跳過嘅。咁所以咧呢個咧喺而家呢刻嘅時候，正正我哋就諗緊，究竟中國會唔會咧係走咗一個 middle income trap 咧？咁嘅話，即係話中國唔可以再向前行啦。咁所以咧，你睇見中國咧，其實就諗好多嘢，其實佢哋好有遠見，喺咧一帶一路啦、大灣區啦，佢不斷有新嘅嘢喺度，就希望可能係想跳過呢個 income trap 啦。咁所以我哋就會諗，咦，我哋設立我哋要有大灣區咁，譬如咁咧就話呢個大灣區所以係好重要啦，對中國經濟嘅發展係好重要。咁我哋就諗點樣去令到大灣區發展得更加好咁樣。咁但係有好多層面嘅喎，咁你咧就咧要講你嘅時候，你就寫得好多樣嘢嘅話咧，你就唔知你做乜嘢啦。咁所以咧，你就要諗下，咦，大灣區要一個內聚嘅大灣區嘅話，需要係點啦？咁我哋咧就話政府咧就出台好多政策喺中央政府裏邊，咁咧希望咧就會令到咧佢可以係有一個好嘅令到大灣區可以能夠內聚。可以有一個新嘅經濟體，咁咧以至咧去帶動咧中國嘅經濟發展，譬如咁樣，咁所以呢個係重要嘅。不過咧就咧，但係咁我哋個問題嚟啦，就係點樣去睇到佢係可以睇到佢內聚咧，或者佢融合咧？咁我哋就要研究佢嗰個融合嘅程度。咁呢個可能就對嗰個嘅大灣區嘅發展好重要啦。咁所以咧，我哋就要睇佢個融合。但係個融合咧，就係話點樣去量度佢融合咧？咁呢個係一個問題啦。咁同埋究竟佢融唔融合得到咧？咁呢個題目就比較清楚。咁我哋咧於是就集中去諗融合啦。人咧就要揾好多嘅資料啊，即係一個有啲人點樣研究嘅方法去睇個融合啦。咁咧，但係咧就話啊，原來發現咧好多嘅融合咧嘅研究裏邊咧係忽略咗咧個制度嘅費用嘅。咁呢個制度費用裏邊咧，所以如果我諗到就算融合係好重要，但係我哋要知道量度每個區域裏邊嘅制度費用，根本需要好多資料嘅。譬如話係一啲嘅交通嘅運輸費啦，一啲嘅法制嘅費用啦，咁你點量度啫？你量度唔到噶。咁所以咧，你要做嗰陣時嗰個 data 唔可以俾到你唔足夠嘅 data， 咁你點可以咧係做到呢個嘅量度咧？咁樣。咁所以咧，你就去諗嘅時候，就會再加更加 focus。我會唔會諗到個方法，可以令到咧唔需要用咁多資料，都可以係令到咧係計到個制度嘅費用，以至我哋可以量度喺融合嘅過程裏邊所帶嚟嘅問題。因為我哋最重要嘅argue 咧就係話，你有呢個制度出台嚟幫助一個地方融合，但係實際嘅運作未必係融合到噶嘛。所以個問題唔單止係在於制度，係在於佢實際嘅運作情況。咁所以咧，但係咧呢個資料又需要好大量喎。咁亦都冇，如果真係做嘅時候冇可能。咁所以就會試下喺個方法裏邊借用一啲嘅統計學嘅方法，會唔會咧係用一個好簡單，用一啲價格嘅數據就可以咧令到呢個融合咧過程裏邊就計到個制度費用。咁喺呢度嚟講咧。我哋咧就係可以諗到個方法，咁咧平時咧啲人用 linear 嘅方法係線性嘅，咁我哋咧就做一啲 non-linear 嘅方法，咁咧就可以咧係做到啦。譬如咁樣，咁我哋咧就話喺呢度嚟講就可以睇到咧一個嘅重要性，就係用一個新嘅方法去量度到一個地區能唔能夠融合。呢個地區能唔能夠融合咧，係對一個整體嘅經濟發展係好重要嘅。咁呢一個咧就會變咗係一個重要嘅研究裏邊，我哋又睇見嗱，我哋攞埋原來主要咧就需要一啲價格嘅就可以量度啦，需要其他嘅數據。咁我哋可以知道邊度可以攞呢個價格嘅數據。咁於是我哋未知道到咁咧呢個咧就係咧我即係最重要咧就係呢個係我個人嘅睇法，但係我諗大部分我哋睇 proposal 咧，即係喺我經濟係我自己個人嚟睇嘅時候，好自然就會睇第一呢個研究係咪真係好重要？呢個一個好 key 同埋 focus 嘅 research question 咁咧就係咧就係呢個係咩一個有創意嘅一個睇法 咁咧就咧你可以喺方法或者喺應用上嘅。咁同埋咧，佢喺 feasibility， 佢係咪真係做到嚇？咁你要諗咧嘅時間咧考慮咧，同埋咧就係嗰個數據裏邊可唔可以攞到？當然我哋掌握到個方法啦，應該都要考慮。咁所以咧，同學我真係咧好盼望係話，我哋咧就係我哋個學位可以咧足夠，即係你有一個好嘅學位，足夠嘅能力可以開始申請，就好似其他學校咁。不過咧就係話咧係最重要咧就係話真係留意下你哋寫嘅 proposal， 呢個 proposal 能唔能夠係重要，唔係你覺得你嘅興趣。咁咧呢個咧係重要嘅。咁咧至於個程度咧就係咧大約5至8頁啦，係2000至3000字。呢個咧就係 department 嘅規定。咁咧 PhD 咧就多啲4000至5000。咁我咧主要咧英文嘅。咁咧就係咧我哋咧呢度咧有唔同嘅老師嘅興趣。就係Professor Yang 喺 Game Theory 係一個好著名嘅學者啦。咁佢當中係自己咧係咧喺仲有其他範疇裏邊。Economic optimization 同 mathematics 啊，咁喺數學理嗰度咧係非常之好，就係一啲嘅，同埋咧就係 dynamic theory consumer theory 啦。咁喺嗰個消費者個選擇裏邊係唔單止係一個 study model， 仲係一個 dynamic 嘅。咁咧仲有咧喺其他方面，咁咧就係我自己咧就比較興趣咧就喺經濟模型嗰度啦，同埋一啲嘅政策嗰方面嚇。咁咧就係咧Dr. Vitaly 咧就係做主要咧就係研究 real estate economics 同埋 finance 嘅sustainable development 啫。咁咧就係胡嘉賢咧就係咧佢咧就喺 apply econometrics， 尤其是喺 nonlinear time series analysis， 佢特別有興趣。咁咧就係Thomas 啦，Dr. Yuan 咧就係咧佢係 happiness economics。咁咧就Everton 咧就係喺 real estate economics 同埋 finance。咁咧呢個咧就係每個同事有唔同嘅興趣。不過咧譬如我哋嘅經驗上咧最重要唔係一定要跟足我哋嘅興趣。我哋咧收過一啲 proposal 咧，佢係跟足你 proposal， 即係當然係好嘅。佢咧就專係揀你揾啲先生係好有興趣即係去做緊嗰啲研究整翻出嚟。咁當然我哋會特別留意啲嘅，但係呢個唔係一個最重要嘅因素。最重要咧都係你個 proposal 裏邊能唔能夠咧反映到，即係你係知道做緊啲乜嘢，將會做緊啲乜。嗱，坦白講個 proposal 咧唔係即刻嗰個就你個 PhD 一定做嗰個，但係個 proposal 係俾人睇到你係有能力去做一個研究嘅學位。而至於個內容係點咧，當中可能會有一啲即係有啲困難嘅。咁咧就會咧到咧收咗之後咧就會再修正。譬如我哋咧都收過佢可能想攞晒全世界 firm data 去做，咁佢個研究好好嘅，但係冇可能攞到 firm data 嚟做咯。咁你未攞一啲國家或者地區嚟做，咁呢啲 data 一定攞到，所以咧一定會同修正嘅，甚至攞 proposal 頭嗰半年咧，只要修正翻個研究。所以咧又唔使太過緊張咧，嗰個研究係咪個老師中唔中意，而係真係去咧睇到你係咪有心去真係咧努力去做。咁呢個咧我覺得係更加重要。咁咧其實咧就係有啲有用嘅資料咧都喺呢個嘅website 裏邊睇到嘅，就係你上翻去我哋係嗰度可以啦。咁樣唔該晒。
哎呀，Dr. Lee，多謝你嘅 sharing。有同學咧就問咗條問題，關於呢個 econ program。咁可能你啱啱都有啲例子都係 cover 一啲香港嘅例子。咁同學就想問佢嘅題材係咪一定要香港呢方面研究香港經濟呢啲？
唔需要，香港啦、中國啦、澳門都得㗎。澳門而家起飛得好犀利，以前可能冇咁多人注意。咁你東南亞啦、國際我哋都中意嘅嚇。咁但係咧就係都係同個 supervisor 去傾嘅。咁再講啦，你寫其實咧讀 PhD 咧係一個嘅經驗咧。我哋話讀書可能係 teach you how to learn。咁咧就係咧喺去到博士或者研究學位咧，就係教你咧係一個經驗嚟嘅。就係經驗咧就係由你係一個 layman 乜都唔識，到咧你經過研究之後，你已經可以做咗 expert。咁咧將來你再遇到一啲問題嘅時候，你都係由完全唔知唔緊要㗎，唔驚㗎。 但係你最後只要經過你研究，你就變咗做 expert， 呢個係最重要。所以個題目啦、題材啦，對我嚟講係唔係太重要嘅。當然有一啲如果太刁鑽嘅，咁我會考慮翻嚟考慮嗰個 data 嘅問題得唔得啦？啊，你話要研究非洲剛果，即係喺30年前去某一啲情況，咁揾唔揾到或者其他咧？呢個我反而覺得重要。啊，呢個我個人嘅睇法嚇。
咁如果我想研究中國或者東南亞國家，可能要去嗰邊揾 data 咁樣，咁學校會唔會有一啲field study 嘅 support，讓我可以去collect data 咁樣？嗱，
我諗睇兩樣嘢啦。我 econ 咧就係、我諗咧，譬如其他係嗰啲咧 field study 你真係去到去睇，但係咧 econ 咧就比較咧多 second hand data 嘅。其實一啲主要尤其是 macroeconomic data 咧，你喺 World Bank 啊，喺IMF 啊或者其他地區咧已經揾到啊。同埋咧就係、學校咧即係都有一個好大嘅software， 我哋就可以 access 到一啲全世界好多資料嘅。咁當然咧有啲真係好個別需要去揾咧，咁呢個我諗係個別，我唔敢講去攞唔攞到，因為你攞一啲嘅 data， 即係攞唔到啲 funding 然後過去，但係你揾嗰啲其實唔需要走過去攞嘅，你喺香港都即係根本你上網就已經揾到，咁嗰啲就唔可以咯。但係有啲好特別嘅係而做出嚟有用嘅，我諗真係要 case by case， 到時再睇下嘅情況。仲有冇其他？
唔該晒，Dr. Lee。
唔該你。
好。
Hi, everybody. I'm very happy here to see you all. I'm Selina Chan from the Sociology Department. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the Sociology Mphil and PhD programs. Our postgraduate program provide you with rigorous interdisciplinary training and guidance to conduct research on a specific chosen topic. And both Mphil program and PhD program require a satisfactory completion of coursework and a thesis. As you heard earlier, that you have to take 2 core courses from different department, and you also need to take a core course from the sociology department, and then you have to write an Mphil thesis or a PhD thesis. So upon graduation, for those who completed the Mphil program, you will end up working in NGOs or social service sector, heritage or related field. For those who complete the PhD program, very likely you will be an academic working in an educational institution, research center, academic institution, and so on. So for our program, what's unique? First of all, we encourage students to conduct research in Chinese communities because we have experts who work on different parts of Chinese communities, Chinese societies. For instance, we have colleagues who work in mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, Malaysia, overseas Chinese diaspora communities. So we are very interested in supervising students to work on cultures in different Chinese communities. However, we also note that there are many ethnic minorities in these Chinese societies. So we are also interested in supervising students who work on ethnic minorities or other ethnic groups. And in fact, we also have colleagues who work on ethnic minorities. And our program is rather unique because the faculty members have different types of training. In the sociology department, we have sociologists, we have anthropologists, we have people who are working on cultural heritage, and we also have criminologists. So you are very likely to be exposed to the interdisciplinary perspective, and you will be able to understand culture from different approaches. And we would encourage you to explore different research methods. For instance, qualitative research method, quantitative research method, and ethnography, and so on. And we encourage students to conduct research which bring community impact and policy implications. In fact, many of our faculty members are doing research which bring impact to communities. And we're very proud to say that we have very close supervisor-student relationship. We know our student very well, and our student always get in touch with us whenever they have problems or they have something happy to share, right? So in terms of the teaching environment, we have an interactive teaching environment, small class discussion, the PhD student and the postgraduate communities. In this postgraduate community, people get along very well, and they know each other fairly well. They communicate with each other by WeChat or WhatsApp. So it's important for postgraduate students. Right, then you have to think about the requirement, how to get into the program. The Mphil applicant should possess a bachelor degree in sociology or anthropology or a relevant field. For instance, sometimes students who complete their first degree in social work or cultural studies, they are also eligible for the program. Similarly, for PhD applicant, they need to possess a master's degree in sociology, anthropology, or a relevant field. Could be social work, cultural studies, gender studies, and so on. And it is also important that when you apply for the program, you need to submit a decent proposal, a good research proposal. This good research proposal should have a good section on literature review. You should be able to demonstrate that you are able to conduct a critical literature review on the relevant field. And you also need to highlight, and you also need to tell us what is your research topic and why this topic is worth doing. And you have to discuss that by linking it to the existing literature. Okay, so spend enough time to write a good proposal if you're interested in applying for an Mphil and PhD program. And of course, when you are doing a proposal, you have to think, what topic would you be doing? And then you have to think carefully about our department's profile, right? You have to see whether the supervisor, whether there's someone in the university in the sociology department who is the expert in the area. Because if you find someone who is the expert in the area that you want to work on, then it's very likely that he or she will be keen on taking you as a student. So please take a look at the supervisors list. May I take this opportunity to go through them briefly with you. The head of department is Professor Zhang Yuhua. He's an expert in drug ethics, right? He does a lot of research in drug addiction, criminology, drug abuse, drug policy, right? And he does quantitative research. And his field site is Hong Kong. So he's really number 1 in the research of drug abuse and drug policy in Hong Kong. Selina Chen, myself, I'm an anthropologist by training, but I've been working in the sociology department all along. And more recently, I'm interested in the study of cultural heritage, but I have also worked on things like religion, family, identity, food culture, and so on. And feel free to take a look at my own CV or publication list so you know more about my interest. And we have Professor Zheng Xiukeng. His area of research is more on Hong Kong studies and ethnographic research, community research. He also does a bit of gender studies and minority politics. He's a sociologist by training, but he's also doing qualitative research mainly. And we have Dr. Hui Feng. He's also an anthropologist by training. He has his PhD from Cornell. He works on Chinese diaspora and migration. So his field site include Indonesia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and mainland China, Singapore. He works on the Chinese diaspora and migration. And he's also interested in heritage politics, diaspora heritage. And that's his recent work. And Dr. Flora Lau is a sociologist by training. She works on social network, ethnic minorities, and forced migration. Her research is mainly in Hong Kong. She has just completed a project on asylum seekers in Hong Kong. So she has some work on ethnic minorities. And she's also interested in health, the topic of health and gender. And Dr. Gao Chong is an anthropologist by training, and his research area is more on economic sociology, entrepreneurship, family business, and so on. And Dr. Li Hang is also a sociologist by training. He has done his research in Hong Kong mainly, a little bit in Taiwan, and he's interested in environmental sociology, social movement, youth. He has two projects on hand. One is on youth studies, the other one is on drug addiction. And Dr. Liu Suo is also a sociologist by training, and she is interested in the issue of social class. So she has done fieldwork and research in mainland China. Dr. Gigi Lam. Gigi is more like a demographer. She deals with quantitative research. She's interested in family, health, population studies, and her work always have policy implication. And Dr. Veronica Mack. Dr. Mack is an anthropologist by training. She is into food heritage studies. She has recently published a book on milk, the meaning of milk in China. So she's into food, anthropology of food, media consumption, family and childhood. And the last one, Dr. Zheng Zhonggin, is a sociologist. He joined us not too long ago, and he has a book on housing. Why Hong Kong people all dream to buy a house, right? A very interesting and important topic. Again, he does qualitative research. So these are our faculty members. And you could see that some of them are associate professor and professor rank. And for these people, usually will be supervisor. For assistant professor, they would be co-supervisor. So when you enter the program, you'll be assigned with a supervisor and a co-supervisor. So you basically rely on your supervisor to read and to work with you closely. But you see your co-supervisor at least once a semester. So he or she will also provide you comments on your written work. And of course, you can go and meet him or her more frequently. But basically, the main supervisor will try to work with you and try to guide you step by step. And you look at this list, you could see our colleagues have done research in different parts of the world, and mainly in different Chinese communities. For instance, I myself done field work in Taiwan, mainland China, Hong Kong, and Singapore. So basically, we welcome people who are interested in researching on cultures in different Chinese communities or Chinese societies. Okay, so here I would like to show you some reflections of our current student. Currently, we have some PhD student and also Mphil student. I have an Mphil student who is working on intangible cultural heritage in China. I have a PhD student who is working on intergenerational emotions in China. With one-child policy, what is the changing dynamics between people of different generations, right? And we also have another PhD student who work on drug policy and drug addiction, right? So this is sharing, right? You could see that the student enjoy interdisciplinary training and responsible supervisors. And the second reflection, again, the students enjoy the interdisciplinary training. This student is a mature student. He has been working in the field of social work for a long time, and he wants to broaden his perspective on policy analysis. So he learned something very different here, and our program could give him a different understanding of the topic that he wants to do. Right. Okay, this is an Mphil student who just joined us not too long ago. And here, she would tell you that she got good friends in this program. A supporting environment is very important in a postgraduate journey. You need a supportive supervisor, co-supervisor, but you also need supportive buddies to go through with you, because the journey of PhD is lonely and tough. But with the support of good friends and supervisor and Shue Yan University, I'm sure you can make it. Thank you. Any question?
Before I submit my research proposal and submit my application, I wonder if I need to contact a professor in Shue Yan first.
It's up to you. It is always good to contact the potential supervisor before you start writing the proposal. In fact, in academia, it is very common for us to email someone who share your research area and say, oh, I have such a wonderful research topic. I would like to see your comment on that. And so the other party will happily reply your email and say, yes, I will be happy to chat with you. So do feel free to knock at our door and tell us what is your research area, and tell us how are you going to do it and what help do you need from us.
Thank you. So can we do long-term study under the Mphil and PhD in psychology, in sociology program? I wonder if the duration will be quite long. So if so, so what's the maximum program length that I can finish?
I think the standard for a PhD program is 4 years. We will try our best to make sure that you meet the target within this period, right? My practice is always to ask the student to send me the schedule And if he or she is late and I asked him or her to revise it accordingly and look at it every month and make sure that he works according to the schedule. If you don't come up with a schedule, it's very likely that you will go drag on and on. We try not to make this happen. So, but of course, in case you can't make it within 4 years, you can ask for some extension.
Okay, thank you. One more question. A student told me that her bachelor degree she got a bachelor degree from political science, but she really interested in a particular field that matches the research interests of our professors in Shue Yan in sociology. But it seems that the discipline, political science, doesn't that match with the requirements in sociology. So can I still apply your program?
It is possible. It depends on what topics are you doing. For instance, if you are doing research in social movement or youth attitude in 2019, or some other issue which touch on political sociology, that's fine too, right? We're talking about interdisciplinary research. So we do take students who have degree from relevant discipline. So if you have any question about your original training, whether it's eligible or not, do feel free to write to me or write to the potential supervisor.
Thank you, Professor Chen.
OK 好，你好，咁我係Dr. Bobo 啦，係 counselling 同 psychology 嗰度嘅 assistant professor 啦。可能你有啲同學仔都會上過我堂嘅，之前就係教 abnormal psychology 嘅。咁今日同大家講一講咧 psychology department 咧，其實係會 offer 一啲 Mphil 啦同埋 PhD 嘅嘅 program 啦。咁其實係咩嚟嘅咧？咁有啲人會問啦，我psychology 讀完之後，我可以讀一個 master in counselling psychology 或者 CP 或者 EP 等等等等。點解我會走去讀一個 Mphil 嘅咧？咁同一啲嘅我哋同學仔好多時候都會話，我想報 CP、EP、COP 有咩分別咧？咁我諗 Mphil 同埋 PhD 最大嘅分別係 Mphil 同 PhD 嘅過程裡面，你係做一個 research 嘅 project。你係做一個 discovery 嘅 journey， 你係做一個係去研究一個你有興趣、好 passionate about 嘅、好有熱情嘅一個 topic。咁好多人咧都會做一個 psychology 嘅一個 research 嘅 degree 嘅，無論 Mphil 或者 PhD 啦。咁好多時候因為我真係對嗰個題目好有興趣嘅 intellectual curiosity 嚟嘅，對嗰個題目好有興趣啦。又或者可能有啲朋友就會話其實我都可能做咗一陣間嘅 therapy， 做咗一陣間嘅一啲嘅前線嘅工作，然之後我好想透過去理解一個題目去提升我嘅practice， 亦都會有嘅。第三啦，我甚至乎遇過一個香港嘅一個 psychology PhD 學生，佢喺個 PhD 嘅過程裡面去做好多 data science 嘅工作啦，做好多 big data 工作。咁佢係想透過一個呢個訓練咧，去提升自己 data science 嘅能力，最後喺一啲嘅 social media 公司做咗個 data scientist 添。咁所以其實咧點解讀 psychology 嘅 PhD 其實好多原因嘅，但係我諗最重要嘅係你心目中有冇一個問題你好想問啊？咁同bachelor 可能你哋啦讀完4年啦，有咩分別咧？咁其實兩個嘅 program 會好有分別㗎。頭先我所講啦，你係帶住一個問題去 start off 一個 Mphil 或者 PhD 嘅 program， 咁所以咧可能喺讀書嘅過程裡面啦，你會有一定嘅 curriculum 嘅，如頭先Professor Tang 都講過，有一啲嘅research 嘅 curriculum 需要去學分去需要去 fulfill 嘅，但係更加重要嘅係你個 academic journey 其實係睇緊究竟你係做緊一個咩 research project， 你嘅可能嘅 progress 就係你 research project 嘅 progress， 你做得有幾好，其實就係講緊你答緊你嗰條 research question 答得有幾好啊。咁所以咧，與其話同 bachelor 嘅時間，你哋坐喺個課室裏面，去一路聽professor 去做一啲 lecturing， 去睇 textbook 去吸收知識，你更加係喺一個嘅位置係 creator of knowledge， 你係製造緊知識。 咁喺樹人啦，我諗大家都好明白，即係大家都係樹人嘅學生都好明白話，我哋個 faculty 係有啲咩特色啦。咁我哋個 faculty 有一個好強嘅 theoretical foundation 啦，由 psychodynamic 去到 CBT， 去到 neuroscience， 去到 social psychology， 去到 mental health 等等，我哋每一位同事都有好強嘅一個 theoretical foundation 啦。而喺樹人裏面，我哋亦都係一路用緊一啲好 cutting edge 嘅 research methods，由我哋有嘅一啲嘅硬件啦，例如 EEG 啦。TMS 啦等等，或者我哋喺一啲嘅quantitative psychology 方面都係會有同事係好出色嘅。creativity 啦，我哋好多嘅題目，我哋好多同學仔做嘅題目，其實都係好回應而家最需要嘅答嘅問題啊，社會上一啲答嘅問題。講起 creativity 咧，其實亦都咁講啦 ，psychology 唔係淨係 psychology 啊。我諗大家都可以上堂嘅時候都遇過 psychology， 其實亦都用嚟去答好多唔同嘅問題㗎。例如可能會有老師而家做緊一啲關於 COVID-19 嘅 psychology 嘅研究，咁佢可能同一啲嘅geographer， 地理系嘅一啲同事啦，political scientist 等等去研究點解人會想用某一種嘅疫苗而未必想用另一種疫苗咧？咁可能大家即刻諗到啦，原來人可能都有一啲 loss aversion， 或者可能我哋對某一啲嘅事物有一啲嘅唔同嘅judgment， 有一啲唔同嘅 evaluative methods 嘅。咁究竟個疫苗係我好仔細咁樣去提供一啲資料，相對於我可能淨係好簡單咁樣去描述疫苗嘅有效唔有效，喺個 presentation 方面，我哋點樣去影響？點樣會影響到啲人打唔打針咧？呢啲全部其實都係 psychology 嘅問題嚟㗎。但係同一時間，我哋都會同好多唔同嘅範疇嘅同事合作，無論係醫學啦、political science 啦、sociology 啦、economics 啦等等，我哋都會有合作。所以咧，當你去諗話究竟我想做一個乜嘢嘅話題嘅時間，其實你都可以諗得闊啲。psychology 其實喺我哋日常生活喺唔同嘅 social science discipline 裏面，其實都係有一個好重要嘅角色啊。咁我哋以前嘅同學仔究竟 research 過啲乜啦？你可能會諗話，喂，我叫我諗一個新嘅話題，不如你話俾我知，以前大約啲人做大約啲乜嘢 topic 啦。咁當然我唔可以話俾你聽 exactly 嗰位同學做啲咩 topic 啦，大家了解唔可以抄功課啊。咁但係我哋嘅 topic 咧一路以嚟其實都好闊啊，由一啲 women's health 嘅範疇啦，由一啲關於spirituality 嘅範疇啦。有一啲關於 dream 啦，關於 emotional regulation 啦，關於 self-regulation 啦，關於consciousness 啦，係啦，一啲 neuroscience 嘅 discipline， 我哋都有同學做㗎。咁無論話頭先所講嘅，可能都係一啲比較個 subject area 嘅考慮啦，去到 methodology 方面，我哋由 qualitative 啦 ，qualitative 我諗大家都了解，我哋嘅 department 都係一個強項啦 ，qualitative 啦。quantitative 啦，我哋都有同學做，無論係 experiments 係用一啲 TMS、EEG 去睇腦嘅一個 functioning， 或者我哋去到用一啲 one-on-one 嘅一啲interview 嘅方式，又或者我哋做一啲 psychotherapy 去睇一個 group therapy 嘅 efficacy， 我哋都有同學做嘅。咁所以其實我哋 department 嗰個嘅research potential 都係好闊，而你希望如果可以都係喺我哋嘅老師裡面揾到一個你有興趣做嘅範疇，亦都可以同個老師去傾㗎。咁講起範疇方面啦，其實因為真係我諗大家都明白 psychology department 我哋好闊嘅，由 Chinese psychology 啦，去到話 health psychology、trauma、e-learning、neuroscience、consciousness、vision。psycho-oncology 都有，即係講緊癌症嘅 psychology、expressive arts therapy、play therapy， 種種我哋都有同事係喺嗰度嘅專長。咁所以其實如果當你考慮緊究竟我係咪應該要去做一個 Mphil 或者一個 PhD 嘅 program 嘅時間，嚟緊呢一年我係咪應該要報嘅時間，我諗會問翻你，你有冇一個問題在心中你好想回答？咁所以其實同頭先啦，有啲嘅老師都講過，就係話我哋需要做一個都係好高質素嘅 proposal 去做個 application procedure。我哋都要需要 make sure 個 research 係 feasible 嘅。但係對我嚟講，諗答呢兩條問題之前，你係需要做好多功課，而你需要做好多功課嘅時間，就要問你自己有冇 passion 去做呢個功課啦。 咁所以喺一個 Mphil 同 PhD 嘅過程裏面，其實都係一個2年、3年、4年嘅過程。你就係用2年、3年、4年嘅光陰去回答一個問題，去諗下自己喺呢一個方面，我想 fulfill， 我想做咗一個 project 係我對呢件事有興趣嘅，咁就應該係好適合你嘅一個過程啦。
好，唔該晒 Dr. Lau。咁據我所知，樹人仲有另外2個master program 係 for psychology 啊，或者有個Doctor of Psychology 咁樣。咁究竟呢啲 master program 同 Mphil 有啲咩分別咧？又或者嗰個 Doctor 嘅 program 同 PhD 有咩分別啊？
好啊！呢個問題因為都需要去梳理下，因為我哋自己 department 嗰度都有幾種唔同嘅 master。咁我每一個 master 都講一講啦。嗱，第一個 master 你可能會遇見嘅叫做 Master of Science in Master of Social Sciences in Psychology 嘅。咁就係一個咧唔係俾 psychology undergraduate。或者with 一個 psychology bachelor 嘅同學去報嘅，嗰個係一個 conversion course。例如而家可能喺audience 嗰度有同學係讀緊 say sociology， 或者有同學讀緊 say economics， 咁你都想話啊，我哋都想之後讀一個 psychology program， 或者往後嘅日子都想做 CPEP 打個比喻啦，或者轉行等等。咁其實嗰個Master in Social Science 括住就咁 Psychology 咧，就係你嘅選擇啦。咁嗰個就會係用2年 part time 嘅時間啦，咁去讀翻一個 equivalent to Bachelor in Psychology 嘅 program 嘅。咁呢一個係第一個嘅 Master 啦。第二個你會見到嘅 Master 咧，就會叫做 Master of Social Science 括住 Counseling in Counseling Psychology。咁嗰個我哋有時叫做 MCan 啊 ，M 啦，跟住 COUN MCan。咁 MCan 其實係就係 for 一啲咧完成咗 Bachelor in Psychology 學位嘅同學，可能喺本校完成嘅就可能係完成咗一個你所講 cancer B cancer 啦 ，Bachelor in Counseling and Psychology 啦，又或者我哋有時成日講嘅 Pure Psy 啦 ，Bachelor in Psychology， 完成咗一個 Psychology 嘅 Bachelor degree， 然之後過嚟去讀 MCan Master in Counseling Psychology。咁呢一個MCan 呢一個課程咧係一個 practitioner 嘅課程，喺我入邊咧你係會需要學習關於 psychotherapy 嘅一啲嘅知識啦，亦都需要去做 internship， 真係將你嘅知識去擺落去一個真正嘅 therapeutic context 裡面嘅。咁完成咗 MCan 之後，你係可以 accredit with Hong Kong Psychological Society， 即係 SCSO 啦，去做成為呢一個嘅 COP 嘅 counseling psychologist 㗎。咁今日講嘅 Mphil，OK，Master in Philosophy， 括住 Psychology，Mphil， 咩叫Phil 先啊，即係 Mphil， 咁我又唔係讀 philosophy 係咪？咁但係就係講緊話咧一種以 research base 以 research 作為一個主軸嘅一種 master program 啊。你喺呢一個 program 裏面今日聽嘅嘢全部都係講緊你喺個 program 裏面做一個 research 嘅 thesis， 你做一個 research project 係你自己去研究一個問題㗎。咁所以咧就同上述所講嘅 master in psychology 啦，或者所謂 MCan Master in Counseling Psychology 咧就會好唔同啦。
好，唔該晒 Dr. Lau。咁因為樹人咧係提倡跨學科嘅 study 啊，咁如果我有興趣想做一啲跨學科嘅 research 咧，咁psychology 嚟講咧，我適合同其他邊啲嘅科目做呢個跨學科嘅 research。咁如果再 specific 啲嘅，有冇啲其他學系嘅 professor 可以介紹 recommend 一下？
其實我係 professor 好難介紹嘅喎，但我諗其實我諗 psychology 好多時候同 sociology 啦、同 economics 啦，甚至乎同英文都可以有合作嘅，即係尤其是可能話你係可能對於一啲文學有興趣，然之後想喺文學裡面去尋找一啲關於心理學嘅答案嘅，即係呢個你可以睇一睇我哋嘅老師嘅一啲嘅 profile， 你就知我講緊啲乜嘢㗎啦。咁尤其是同文學可以有好多合作，可以有好多空間嘅，咁所以其實真係 depends on 你嘅興趣係乜嘢嘢。咁點解？咁你就會問話咁我點解要喺 psychology 嗰度讀先？因為好多時候我諗我哋讀 psychology， 尤其是你哋讀個 bachelor 啦，知道好多時候人去做一個 judgment， 人去做一個嘅人有一個感受，人有呢個決定，人有呢啲想法，其實係一啲好 basic psychological processes 嚟嘅。咁而呢啲 basic psychological processes， 我哋放之於喺唔同嘅範 範疇裡面都會可以有唔同嘅開花結果。咁所以以我自己為例啦，我係做得多啲係 health 嗰邊，咁所以可能話我喺樹人會同一啲做 health 嘅 sociology 嘅同事一齊去合作。At the same time，我都會喺第二啲嘅院校同有關嘅醫生啦，有關嘅一啲 health 嘅nurses 啦，可能護士啦，甚至乎可能我有啲合作伙伴係外面嘅一啲癌症嘅一啲支援機構都可以㗎。所以其實我諗喺 psychology 嘅範疇裏面，你可以諗得好闊，而亦都如果你有個問題係帶住喺手嘅，或者你有一個範疇有興趣嘅，咁歡迎去同你嘅 supervisor 傾下啊。
好，唔該晒。最後一個問題，據我所知，讀 Mphil PhD 咧，你好多時都要做一啲 department 嘅工作。咁我想問呢啲 department 嘅工作係包括啲咩？我會唔會有機會做一啲bachelor course 嘅 TA 啊咁樣啊？
係啊，冇錯啊。咁你嘅 studentship stipend 應該叫 stipend 啦，呢度叫做。咁就係需要包括咧去做一啲 department 嘅工作啦，包括teaching assistant 啦，你可能需要去幫一啲嘅 lecturer 去做一啲 tutorial 啦，去可能話喺 tutorial 上面你可能需要去帶一啲你嘅師兄師弟師妹啦，一啲 undergrad 嘅同學啦，教佢點樣去做一啲嘅 analysis 啦，或者同佢哋去 discuss 一啲嘅topics 啦等等。咁另一方面咧，你都會有一個叫 research assistantship，咁通常就係會係幫翻department 嘅同事啦 ，department 嘅一啲 professor 手去做佢哋嘅 research 嘅。咁其實兩邊咧都係一個非常之好嘅一啲 arrangement。好似頭先Professor Chan 所講，可能好多時候你讀完 Mphil 又甚至乎你讀完 PhD， 你可能會喺返學術界裏面工作。咁你有一個 teaching experience， 無論係你未必直接揾到 lecturer 工作啦，或者可能話讀緊 master， 我好難會揾到 lecturer 嘅一啲位置。但係你做 teaching assistant 其實都係一個非常之好去表現出你有能力去教書，你 enrich 你嘅 CV 嘅途徑。咁同埋啦，透過係幫其他嘅professor 去做一啲 RA 嘅工作嘅時間啦，你個眼界會闊好多嘅。可能其他 professor 去做嘅範疇同你完全唔同嘅，佢就俾咗一個新嘅方向你去回答你自己手頭上嘅問題咯。
好，咁大家樹人嘅同學仔大家好啦，咁我係 Angela， 咁係今年 Mphil in Psychology Year 2嘅同學仔嚟嘅，係啦，咁頭先好多嘅 professors 同埋 doctors 都同你哋分享過關於一個 program 嘅 requirement 啊，或者各樣嘅一啲內容啦，咁我而家就會講下其實落地實戰嘅時候，你係會遇到啲乜嘢嘅困難啊，或者成個過程你係需要點樣去準備咧，咁樣。好似冇反應。係啦，咁其實我自己而家做緊個 research 題目咧，就會係關於 significant life change 啦，同埋 spiritual awakening 嘅。係啦，咁因為我係 Year 2嘅同學啦，咁所以我而家 mainly 咧就 focus on data collection 嘅。係啦，咁我都會講多少少陣間其實 application 嘅時候啊，或者各樣你哋需要留意嘅地方。係啦，咁你哋都係樹人嘅同學仔啦，咁我 suppose 你哋對於你哋嘅 professors 啊或者老師佢哋嘅 research interest 或者 research field 咧都會有一定嘅認識嘅。咁但係 in case 你哋想 explore 下其他嘅 possibility 咧，咁其實你哋可以上翻去我哋嗰個 postgrad 嘅 website 啦，咁裏邊咧會有講關於 teaching staff 嘅，咁裏邊你就可以睇翻每一位老師其實佢哋嘅強項或者佢哋嘅 research interest 會係啲咩嘅。咁頭先 Professor Chan 咧佢有提過話你哋 application 嘅時候就好歡迎你哋去同你哋嘅 potential 嘅 supervisor 去傾下偈啊，去講下關於你哋自己嘅 research interest 或者係 areas 嘅。咁但係我自己 personally 咧係 strongly recommend 你哋一定要去做呢樣嘢。點解咧？因為當你去做一個 undergrad 嘅 FYP 嘅時候咧，同你做一個 Mphil 嘅 proposal 嗰個 preparation 或者 content 咧嗰個要求 其實係非常之唔一樣嘅，係啦，咁所以你可以喺 through 呢一個同佢傾偈嘅 supervision 嘅呢一個嘅 session 入邊，其實你可以知道清楚一啲關於你自己想做嘅嗰個 topic 啊，或者 interest 其實係 feasible 啊，可唔可行啊，或者點樣做咧咁樣樣，係啦，咁當你有傾完呢一個嘅即係 meeting 之後啦，你個思路啊或者 preparation 都會清晰好多啦。咁然之後當然 next step 就係準備你個 proposal 啊，同埋各樣嘅 require 嘅一啲 document 啦。咁完咗之後咧，咁你就會收到一個 invitation 啦，就係講你需要做一個 proposal 嘅 presentation 嘅。咁就大概20至25分鐘左右啦。咁然之後咧usually 會有4位嘅即係同你個 topic最 closely related 嘅 professors 或者老師咧，就會同你一齊去做一個 interview 咁樣樣嘅。咁我自己當時咧係過咗interview之後咧，咁但係我係未考 IELTS 嘅，係啦，咁所以我嗰陣時收咧係一個 conditional offer。咁我一收到係即係收我之後啦，咁我就即刻去報考個 IELTS。咁都要留意翻啦，即係 for 我哋 psychology 啊或者其他嘅 course 都係6.5分或者以上嘅，係啦。好，咁之後可能大家會好 concern 就係關於你上堂啊或者 workload 其實係如何咧？咁同 undergraduate 好唔同咧，就係其實我哋讀 Mphil 或者讀 PhD 咧，其實 actually 咧你只係需要上3個 course 嘅啫。咁你 Year 1成蚊會上一個啦，咁然後 Year 2會上2個 course 咁樣樣嘅。咁喺你 Year 1嘅時候咧，你需要交一個就係你嘅 research topic。咁喺呢個 research topic 咧，同你之前交 application 嗰個research proposal 咧 can be 你可以 fine tune 啦，亦都 can be 係完全唔一樣嘅嘢嘅。咁當然啦，你就需要同你嘅 supervisor 去傾，其實你嗰個research 嘅內容或者 topic， 你會想點改，或者係可唔可行去咁樣改啦。咁然後喺 Sem 2嘅時候咧，其實你就係埋頭苦幹，除咗去上堂之外咧，就係埋頭苦幹去做你嘅 research proposal 啦。咁交完之後咧，亦都會有一個 presentation 咁去做一個 oral defense 嘅，係啦。咁然後到 Year 2咧，其實你 basically 咧就係唔需要上堂啦。咁然後就係收 data 啦，做 data analysis 啦，咁同埋係 prepare 你嘅 final 嘅 dissertation。咁 FIFA 就係講緊你嗰個另一個嘅 presentation 咁樣樣嘅。咁大家會留意到啦，其實你係有好多時間咧，會係一個 alone time 嘅，我稱之為。咁當然每一個supervisor 或者 professor 佢哋會有唔同嘅一啲 supervision 嘅 style 嘅。咁但係喺你個人獨處嘅時間，其實你就會花好多時間去睇 journal 也好啦，睇書也好，就係去睇一啲直接同你個 research 相關啦，亦都有機會係睇一啲唔相關嘅嘢 ，so call 唔相關嘅嘢，去刺激你嘅 inspiration 同埋俾好多唔同嘅 insight 嚟嘅。係啦，咁係啦，咁就同 undergrad 上堂嘅時候好唔同啦。咁其實喺呢個學習嘅過程咧，係好多時候係同學仔自己本身去好 actively 去 initiate 嗰個 process， 就唔再係一個老師話俾你聽點做，你就再去做咁樣嘅一個過程嘅。咁同埋頭先啲 professor 都有提過啦，因為係一個one to one 一個單對單嘅一個 coaching mentor 嘅一個 relationship。咁同你之前喺而家或者而家你哋 undergrad 上堂嗰個模式好唔同嘅。咁所以大家都知道啦，咁尤其是我哋 psycho 系嘅老師，因為我自己本身 psycho 系啦 ，OK， 咁就都好 supportive 嘅。所以如果你喺呢一個嘅 journey 入邊咧，你遇到嘅任何嘅 concern 也好啦 ，struggle 也好 ，difficulties 也好，好同唔好嘅嘢，其實都要同你個 supervisor 去傾，咁佢先可以從旁去俾 guidance 同埋 assistance 你啦。咁其實喺呢個 Mphil 嘅過程，除咗喺你嘅知識位或者 academic wise， 你會有一個好 intense 嘅 improvement 同埋 enhancement 之餘咧，其實係你會需要 pay attention to every little details in everyday life 去揾你嘅 inspiration 同埋 resources 嘅。咁對於可能鍾意思考嘅同學仔嚟講咧，係一個非常之 enjoyable 嘅過程啦。咁但係當然其實喺呢個即成2年入邊嘅 research 嘅一個過程入邊，其實係好 contradictive 嘅。意思即係咩咧？即係 on one hand 你可能係做緊一啲頭先都提到啦，即係你做一個你會 interest 嘅 topic 啦 ，at the same time 會係 meaningful 啦，你會好 enjoy， 亦都覺得好 exciting 去揾答案嘅。咁但係 at the same time 亦都會喺中間有好多嘅迷惘啦、迷失啦，亦都 frustration 咁樣。咁變咗係啦，要留意自己個 emotion 嘅 嘅嗰個變化，同埋都要 seek for 譬如你嘅同學仔啊，同埋你嘅老師嘅一個 support 啦。咁因為亦都喺呢個過程入邊，你會睇好多唔同嘅資料啊，關於你嘅 topic 也好，直接關於你嘅 topic 都好啦。咁變咗其實係會有好多 self-reflection 同埋係一個好 intense 嘅 personal growth 嘅。咁呢一個會係講緊 assignment 啊，或者係上堂嘅一個過程啦。咁頭先Doctor Lau 都有提過咁你係需要工作嘅。咁 work 嗰部分會係點咧？咁就係可能會做 teaching assistant 啦，或者會做 research assistant 嘅。咁就會睇翻你嘅 supervisor 啦，或者係department 會 assign 去即係俾你又係做邊一樣嘅工作嘅。咁我 Year 1嘅時候我就自己做 TA 啦，咁而家 Year 2咧就做緊 RA 嘅。咁for TA 嗰度啦，咁除咗證明你有一個 ability 去教書之外，咁其實你都會發現對於知識或者嗰個 topic 嘅認識喺你做學生嘅位置同你去教人嗰個位置，其實係一個完全唔同嘅層次。即係喺你做 preparation 啊各樣，你都係要更加全面同埋深入啦。咁而 RA 咧，其實亦都係一個好好嘅 inspiration 同埋 resources 嚟嘅。因為當你幫你嘅 supervisor 去做嘢嘅時候，同你嘅 topic 咧 can be 係完全兩個世界嘅東西啦。咁就係因為有呢個兩個世界東西嘅碰撞咧，亦都可以幫你自己做緊嘅 topic 有好好嘅新嘅 insight 啦。係啦，咁頭先一開始嘅時候啦 ，Professor Tang 都有提過其實我哋postgrad 嘅同學仔咧會有research， 即係我哋嘅自己嘅 office 嘅。咁我 personally 係覺得即係學校有呢個 arrangement 係好 thoughtful 嘅，因為同 undergrad 好唔同啦。即係譬如如果飄晒嘅同學仔，可能你一班30-40人，咁可能 count 晒嘅會多啲90至100零個咁樣啦。咁但係其實我哋 Mphil 我嗰屆 cohort 得5個同學仔，喺我下對落嗰屆咧就係6定7個同學仔，係啦。咁所以當唔同嘅同學咧，你哋尤其是唔同嘅 discipline 啦，咁大家個思維模式啊或者個經驗都好唔同。咁所以喺呢個 office 入邊，其實你哋好多機會會互相切磋或者討論，唔 necessary academically 嘅。咁但係係會俾到你好多嘅 insight 同埋 inspiration。咁同埋頭先 Professor Chan 都提過啦，其實喺呢條路上邊係都幾 lonely 嘅，但係 lonely in a good way 啦，我 personally 覺得。咁所以除咗老師可以俾到 support 或者 guidance 你之餘，其實一樣好得意嘅嘢係，因為你會好 devote 亦喺做你自己嘅喺你自己嘅世界或者你自己嘅 topic 嘅。咁所以變咗你嘅屋企人啦、你嘅朋友，甚至乎你嘅另一半咧，佢哋有機會啦，唔 necessary 嘅，可能唔係好清楚你做緊啲乜嘢嘅，係啦。咁喺呢個時候咧，你嘅同學仔就可以一個好有力嘅一個 support group， 去大家去互相支持去行過呢一段路啦。咁仲有啦，就係 hall life 啦。咁我哋如果你入咗嚟讀書之後，咁你哋會係住喺 research complex 7樓啦。咁係啦，咁頭先大家都見過啲相，大概係點啦。咁右手邊呢係左手邊呢張相咧，就係我喺我間房出去影嘅夜景嚟嘅咁樣。係啦，咁可能有啲同學仔而家 undergrad 已經係住緊 hall 啦，咁但係我可以話俾你聽，有 roommate 同因為係你自己一個人間房嘅，係啦，同埋會有自己嘅 bathroom 咁樣啦。咁你自己住同有 roommate 係一個完全唔同嘅一個狀態嚟嘅。咁所以變咗成個配套讀書也好，生活住也好，變咗會係一個好獨立 in a way， 但係又有好intense 嘅一個 personal growth 嘅一個 experience 嘅。咁所以如果你都有興趣對於你嘅 research topic 也好啊，或者對於自己嘅 personal growth 都希望有一個好大嘅進步咧，咁讀 Mphil PhD 絕對會係一個非常之好嘅選擇嚟嘅。咁希望我今日嘅分享可以俾到一啲新嘅information 或者 insight 你哋啦。咁就 look forward 喺新嘅 cohort 見到你哋啦。Thank you。
Okay, now you have learned from 3 faculty from 3 different departments about the research, about the requirements, and also the sharing with one of the Mphil students. So I would like to add a little bit more information before we conclude this information session. Let me explain the graduate school a little bit at Shue Yan. At Pleasant Shue Yan, the graduate school of Shue Yan runs 2 types of postgraduate programs. One is what we call taught programs, 授課式課程. Taught programs is different from what we're talking about today. Taught program is mainly coursework based. So students had to attend, basically they had a lot of courses, just like undergraduate, but it's of a master level. Okay, top programs usually is of shorter durations, and some of them are part-time, run only in part-time. And 6 departments that are listed on here, okay, the list mentioned do offer some top programs. So if you are interested in the top programs, then you can refer to the website. Usually top programs are tailored for working people who are already working in various industries, and they would like to upgrade their information about specific aspect of their industry or their work. So they come back for part-time to pick up a master of a top program. Top program also different from the research program in that they generally do not receive any studentship. Okay, so this is one of the major the differences between top and research program. What I introduced and what we talk about today is postgraduate research programs, which is Mphil and PhD. Okay, so they are usually run in full-time mode, and then they do, if you're in full-time, you do receive studentship. Okay, that's the major differences. And the differences is also the research program focused on research, completion of a research work, a piece of research work, working closely with your research supervisor. It's more for academic journey and more to develop students' critical thinking, learning self-discipline and exploring, various, understanding, and most important is probably create new knowledge rather than like other top programs, application of knowledge. So so I mentioned a little bit about these 2 types of programs at Shue Yan University. So, and I understand there are some questions, general questions from you, okay, and from the audience, of the participants. What are these questions?
Yes, Professor Tang. What is the pathways after graduation? For example, after graduating from PhD, what can I do?
Okay, let me first refer to Mphil first, okay? Mphil usually, it depends on your discipline, okay? Where you graduate from, okay? And then the pathway usually follow from your major discipline. And usually for Mphil, because we have to develop critical thinking and self-discipline. So it's like I said, it's a top-up value, okay? Added value of what you have learned from undergrad. So whatever areas that you're working towards or you're entering into according to your discipline, you will be more than like an entry level. So it's something that some employers prefer, applicants to have an added value, added training, other than, basic, coursework training. So that's the Mphil. So you basically go to the career pathway according to your discipline. Or it will all, because our focus is interdisciplinary. So you might also be able to enter another career or other related career in addition to what your major study at the undergraduate level. And another pathway that a lot of people choose is that after Mphil, a fair amount of students or graduates are interested to pursue further because knowledge pathway is never ended. So a fair amount of students, after they complete their Mphil, they still want to go on with a PhD. Okay, a PhD degree for me is opening a lot of possibilities because in the PhD, you're trained to be an independent and critical thinker. So you are at the level of not just listening to instructions, but you are in a condition, you're trained to be a thinker, trained to be a planner, trained to a senior administrator, that you know how to assign different plan and schedule different work and different aspects. And you train to ask good questions, to learn to how to answer and provide solution to your question. So this is what PhD training is for. So PhD training usually do not just focus just restrict to your discipline. So basically a PhD in sociology may end up with being a high-level administrator or some other areas. So for me, PhD is opening a possibility beyond what your basic training. And also a PhD, some of the PhD graduates will enter academic because they're creating knowledge. They also are interested in transferring or disseminating their knowledge to the next generation. So a fair amount of PhD graduates will also go into academic field, like being an instructor, being a faculty, being an assistant professor. But most people are thinking that, oh, a PhD only leads you to a teaching job in your university. But it's not true. If you look at the pathway for PhD graduates, only a few goes to the teaching. The rest, okay, some of them go to research field, okay, they become a researcher, an analyst, and also, high-level administrator, and wherever in the field. So PhD offers possibilities beyond your basic training, particularly as Shue Yan, you're trained at an interdisciplinary level. Okay, so your thinking, your creative thinking, critical thinking is more than just your own discipline. So for me, I think PhD training leads to different, a possibility beyond your basic undergraduate training field. So if you're undergraduate in history or art or whatever, after PhD training, you might be provided a career pathway in various ways. So I think it is the specific career as to which job can I enter, I cannot answer you. It's unlike, undergraduate level, because PhD graduates can enter into basically any field. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Tang.
So, any further questions?
I understand that there are some graduate seminars or research seminars. So what is the possible topics of these seminars?
Oh, these seminars are of a wide variety, and it's of interdisciplinary nature. So graduate research seminars basically is either presented by faculty or students in various disciplines. And sometimes it's from Shue Yan. And sometimes we also invited people, researchers from other local institutions or maybe overseas. Basically, the Mphil PhD student, will be, participate in a way that they listen to the presentation, they ask questions, they answer questions, they ask questions, and then they kind of opening, the mind about opening the, the mind about the perspective, different perspective. So it's not of a particular discipline, okay? And it's basically, usually depends on the speaker. Mostly it's on presentation of a research project findings, implications, or presentation of new theories, new knowledge base. And sometimes students, if they maybe ask, to present, also to present their ideas about projects. So it could be ideas about projects, theories, or findings of a completed research projects. So, but don't worry, you basically will be a participant and a relatively not active person. You'll be listening, okay? You'll be, hearing what other people say, and you'll be, absorbing what other people's new perspective. Rather than, usually we tend not to ask students to do the graduate research seminars. Students do have opportunity to present their research projects findings in terms of their oral proposals, in terms of their oral defense. And sometimes we are also thinking about a workshop for all students to present their projects. In other graduate schools, there usually a student thesis project date, where student, or poster day, a 3-minute poster, where students present their findings or propose research ideas in 3 minutes, so that each one knows what you're talking about. And you also learn how to do presentation skills. So, but the research graduate seminars that I'm referring to is basically by speakers. Students will be attendants,
Thank you. One more question. So being a Mphil PhD student, any chance for me to go to some conference?
Yes, okay, yes and no, let me say. Encouraging students to participate in research activities outside of their own universities, either locally or overseas, is always encouraged in any graduate school. And the extent of encouragement and support depends on the resources of the university. So we're working towards the end that we would like to provide, even if not all students, maybe some students, some exposure to present their findings or to attend conferences and workshops, perhaps locally first. And then, if there is enough support, and of course, when we talk about support, it's financial support. It's possible, available, then we'll arrange some, but it's still in the process of conceptualization, how to work towards that. But this is a goal that we aim to, because international exposure, research exposure is very important. Thank you for coming to this information seminar. And we're looking forward to your application.